Hello, lovely. Welcome to the Find a Lovely Life podcast, a safe place for all self love journeys. I'm your host, Monica Rodriguez, and for the past 7 years, I've been on a mission to learn how to love myself. Healing can be a really lonely journey, especially when you don't know where to start. So let's figure things out, cherish words that guide us, and of course, I'll share some of my lovely life lessons along the way. If you're looking for inspirational stories, conversations with some lovely souls, and a little life advice, I think you found the right place. Or maybe it found you. Let's try our best and find a lovely life together. Hi, lovely. Episode 4. You know, the number 4. The number 4. 444. Foundations. Stability. We are chugging along this first season of this podcast venture. If you have been with us since episode 1, we are grateful, and we're talking about gratitude today. So might as well start out by saying thanks. I've always been the kind of person that just sort of processes things really rather quickly, and things happen to me so serendipitously at the rate of growth that sometimes I get really scared that I am just trailblazing my way through this journey. And I like to ground myself in gratitude, to just be present. I've been kind of really trying to find more ways to accept the version of me that I am right now. And I've been sort of really journaling and like meditating and thinking about our last conversation with inner child healing and just like processing. That processing itself is a process. And self love journeys are a process. It's like a never ending journey. That's something that is really hard to like comprehend when you kind of like embark on this journey. You kind of feel like there's a end to it, and you'll eventually conquer this like giant mountain of self-love that will just be this like, I don't know why I'm envisioning like just like a super waterfall flowy jungle selva vibes. Probably where my higher self lives, but you're able to access that at any point. And the point of the human experience is to come back and continue learning and continue growing. And I think this euphoric sense of self love could be so confusing sometimes when you get to that point or you get to that top of your mountain, and then a tower comes and you topple over and you feel like everything that you've worked so hard for is just for nothing. And I kind of want to talk about in this episode that feeling of thinking that you are so far ahead in your journey, and then you're so gracefully, humbly reminded by the universe that you're still in the human experience, and that that is not a stunt of growth or a, you know, reflection of failure by any means. It's actually a great way to realize that you're still human. And healing can sort of be really frustrating because it can take longer than you expect it to, especially when it comes to emotional healing and self love journeys. And I think grace and gratitude, the two G's, well, we'll throw God in there for the third one, almost like juggling these three tools or the universe, however resonates better for you, will help you sort of navigate those almost, it feels like rock bottom, but it's really not. Like if you visualize a mountain and you're climbing and maybe you fall a little bit, not like literal sense, like let's pretend this is a cartoon so you're like not going to get hurt physically. You're not going to like fall all the way down, like you're going to maybe like, miss a couple steps and then like get back up and keep going. And so I think approaching it in a sense of healing is never linear, and reminding yourself of that and knowing that when you feel a wave of grief, it's not this sense of failure, it's a sense of emotional processing that you're getting to experience, might help kind of give you that grace to continue uh, to be grateful for having the experience of continuing to find new ways to love yourself. You might sort of find yourself in a in between state, which is the stickiest, worst feeling ever when you're in between life chapters and versions of yourself. And at first, I used to think that it was the most uncomfortable part of the unknown journey of self love. And the more that I would get put in that place, and this happened a lot, so it wasn't like the first or second time, I can now recognize that this is part of trusting the process, the in betweenness of it, the nitty gritty part of self love and growth that often comes unexpectedly and sometimes forcefully by the universe, to put you in a position where, in order for you to get to where you want to go, more growth and healing is needed. And I think I've been practicing sort of that sense of being more present in those moments, knowing that I can access all these past versions of myself that I've healed that can help me heal now. And I can access any future version of me to give me hope for that next chapter. But oftentimes I feel like I get really comfortable in that past and future. And I don't like sitting where I'm at right now for too long. And I'm trying to practice being more okay with being where I'm at, knowing what I know and loving that, which is a really hard, almost like side quest, or not side quest, but just a, sometimes I feel like in that analogy, self growth is like I have to keep going forward. And if we're using that analogy of side quests, sometimes the side quest will give you a new tool or skill that you might need to continue moving forward. And that side quest will appear a couple times along the way until you kind of feel like, okay, what's this? Fine, I'll do it. Or, ooh, something shiny, something new. Let me experience this. Well, I've always been on the side of like side quests, and my brother used to hate playing video games with me because I would just gather all the coins and like not follow him on the screen. But I think that there's something to say about that in terms of self love journeys, that it can be okay to be where you are at right now. I keep saying this because I think I need to keep hearing it, is that you're not behind, and trying to heal faster than you need to, or giving yourself less time to do that, sometimes is a form of abandonment. And I've been thinking a lot of how am I not choosing myself, and what ways am I abandoning myself, and asking myself these questions and journaling about these questions. And I haven't really been liking the answers because I'm realizing that I am doing those things still. And so, but then I also get upset because it's like, well, I've done all this work and I'm still at this sort of like, my therapist and I used to like call like jellyfish tentacle tangles. Like we have all of these like traumas and like waves of growth and healing and versions of yourself that you deal with and you heal. And sometimes, if you picture like a jellyfish tentacle knot, if it would be like having a knot, right? You might untangle the first knot and think that that tentacle is fine. And then you kind of continue on life and realize that something is actually not completely unraveled or untangled. And you only know what you know when you know, you know? Let me say that in a different way. It's easy to get frustrated with yourself, thinking that you have all the answers when you haven't fully discovered the entire picture. Like if we're doing a puzzle and you know the corners and you have like, at least this is how I do puzzles. You do the corners first and then you separate the sections between like color or like area of the puzzle. If they're like a bunch of puppies, like this is the puppy pile. And so you know what you know in terms of like a bird's eye view. But then maybe that specific pile, once you kind of start doing the puzzle and figuring things out, you realize that you need to split that pile up in two because it actually has more plants and it would be easier for you to like tackle the plant section first before like this mucky brown color that all kind of at first seemed to be in that pile. And so you keep kind of like working through the puzzle and separating piles until it gets easier and easier for you to see the full picture. And I kind of feel like that in between sense of trusting the process can be frustrating of those moments of this was this pile and I should have known better. But at the beginning, it was such a big thing to tackle that you had to have split the puzzle pieces in a little bit bigger puzzle piece piles in order for you to even like think about tackling the entire thing. And so I want to use that as an example for you to kind of like, if you're healing something or find yourself in this like weird transition of a self-love journey where you're kind of in the in between, trust the process. And I know that's easier said than done. But sometimes it helps to hear things in different ways to be a little bit more gentle for yourself, to yourself, for yourself. Be gentle for yourself so that you can continue on the journey. And when I first started this self love journey, I'm a really big Coldplay fan. That band has followed me and has always released an album at a very critical tower moment where my life completely fell apart. And it's kind of been a musical anchor post for me as I continue my self-love journey. One of the first like self-love sort of initiation things I did back in 2016, like when I first started intentionally embarking on this self-love journey, I flew to a random city and I went to go visit a friend. And I bought a ticket to the Coldplay concert that was in town by myself because I wanted to go alone. And that album specifically had a song, and the album is A Head Full of Dreams. And it was a really like significant album for me and what I was going through at that period of my life. The last song of that album is called Up and Up. And there's a line in that song that says, yes, I want to grow. Yes, I want to feel. Yes, I want to know. Show me how to heal it up. And honestly, That is probably the manifesto to this entire blog. Now that I think about it, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to heal and I wanted to feel and I wanted to grow. Recognizing that I wanted to do that fought a lot of my past programming and traumas because I didn't want to heal and I didn't want to grow and I didn't want to feel anything. Like, I had programmed myself to be so numb because of all the trauma that I had experienced that I didn't want to feel anything. And I got to a point in life where I felt like I needed to open myself up and let the light in again. I ended up doing a whole year of yes and like saying yes to everything, which is a great tool to open yourself up to like start to really dig into self-love in a positive, like, I'm going to say yes to things that to get me out there again, right? And in that process, I got really exhausted from saying yes to everything because saying yes to everything puts you in a position where you have no boundaries. And it's a way of quietly not advocating. Well, okay, so like you're advocating for yourself, but I'm going to bring back the puzzle analogy. You're saying yes because you're advocating for yourself and you're at the first stage of puzzle pile coordination. I got to a point at the end of the year where I was so exhausted and I had like finished most of the piles where I got to one really big pile and I was like, okay, I need to split this up. And this pile is, I don't have to say yes to everything, especially if I don't actually want to do it. And that's where boundaries started kind of being introduced into self love for me in my journey. And this is how mine happened. Everybody's journey is different and it can be the puzzle pieces. You can divide your puzzle piles in different ways. Everybody does a puzzle differently, just like everybody heals differently. And so there came a certain point where I started to say no as a different form of advocacy for myself in my self love journey. But what I wanted to continue saying yes to was feeling. Because what I learned is that the more that I opened myself up to more opportunities, the more that I actually started to feel something again. There was a point in my life, like in college, where I didn't feel anything for a really long time because I numbed myself that much that I would just put my face to a fan just to feel something. And in 2016, I said yes to so many things. I got introduced to so many new people. I opened myself up to so many new opportunities. And then in 2017, I looked around and I was like, how the hell did I get here? Who are these people? I don't think they know me. I don't think they see me. I don't think they'll ever actually be able to understand me. And that's when it shifted gears into, well, I want to understand me and I want to see me and I want to know me. And the intent changed of how I approach self love because I was now driving. I wasn't letting everyone else kind of like lead me into a journey, which was a great way for me to start my journey because I was blind. I had no example of how to love myself. And I don't regret that year and that experience. But there comes a point where the more that you kind of like allow yourself to feel something again, you're going to start to want to feel it on your terms. And that's a good thing because that means you're kind of reawakening your sense of purpose and advocacy for you, which is what the journey is all about. You. I think this was okay, May 2017. Wow, like literally. That's crazy. Is it crazy? What is it? Coincidence? I think not. I don't believe in coincidences. I can't. The shit that's happened to me, it's impossible. Anyways, I wrote this May 2017, and it was kind of like, and I'll put the blog links in the description, but it was how to start feeling the healing. Because it's one thing to like agree to start healing, and it's a very important process. Remember, it kind of sneaks up on you of the self love journey. How you start healing uh, is really up to you. But the best way I can describe it is sort of like a Diet Coke and Mentos experiment. Kind of the more you don't allow yourself to feel the heal, the more Mentos the universe is just gonna pop into your Diet Coke bottle. And one day it's just gonna like slow motion viral TikTok science experiment on you. And then you'll kind of be like, why can't I win? Which is a form of like experiencing a part of you that has felt that they have been in control the whole time, which can be scary and lonely and frustrating. But I think that's the more you understand, or the more you tell yourself until like you finally experience it, because it's one of those things where like until it happens to you, you'll really get it, is that healing takes time, and to feel you deserve to feel your own heal. And I think that's why gratitude has always been so hard for me, is like allowing myself to feel, allowing myself to heal, and believing that I deserve it. That's sort of like the little video game level of self-love that I've been like healing and conquering, because it kind of goes hand in hand with my word receive, is like believing that I deserve to receive it, believing that you are worthy of the blessings that you already have in your life. And I think those two words go hand in hand, big or small. And I'm really excited for you all to meet my lovely neighbor turned friend, dog mom, Amara Taylor, who had a very physical healing experience that we all, sometimes go through when healing. When we think of healing a bone in our body, you know, we know it's going to take time. We know that we maybe need to get a cast or a boot or spend some time off of our feet. And so I feel like thinking of self love, healing in the same way that you would approach a physical injury can be a great blueprint for you to have as a reference when you do start working on healing things that are internal. So I hope our conversation makes you feel like healing is a process, and trusting the process of your self love journey can look different at different points of your life. Knowing that it's part of the journey is what makes it a process. Hello, Amara.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm great. I'm doing awesome.
I'm so glad that you're here for another episode of the Find a Lovely Life podcast, which you also encouraged me to do.
Absolutely. It was a great idea for you.
And I am super grateful, which is a word that we're going to be talking about here
Yes,
with
ma'am.
Jude. Amara and I met at this apartment complex. She is a true neighbor to friend conversion ratio.
Yeah.
Which is like kind of unheard of these days.
I'd have to say you were like one of my first like awesome friends I met in Austin. So here we are today.
Here we are today.
Still going.
With Jude. We met at the dog park, which I've actually met some of the best people at dog parks, and you are one of them.
Yeah, there's some cool people at the dog parks.
including Jude. Yeah.
Yes, you count as one of those.
Good job, Jude. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what's something that you love about yourself?
So I'm Amara. I'm from Iowa originally. I've been in Austin for about 3 years now, and it's been great. I love living here. Definitely a different atmosphere, I'd have to say, but it's been great. I'm a nurse. Love to communicate with people and have that compassion. Um, but for the most part, things I would say I love about myself, um, I'd have to say like my open mindedness. I really feel like I adapt well with learning new perspectives from people, and when I get into conversations, I love to be able to have a 180 spin when it comes to just understanding the views of different things.
You do that so naturally
Yeah.
because whenever we have like conversations about things that we're processing, you always ask me questions. You always stump me, which is kind of hard to do
Yeah.
sometimes. And well, we do that to each other, I
Yeah, I feel
feel.
like you do the same to me, definitely.
And I'm like, wait a second. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jude agrees.
Jude's like, sure does.
Jude's getting a little bit more comfortable with the camera. I don't know how I feel about that.
He's gonna take your job.
I know. But I love that about you too, and you kind of encourage me to also like continue to have an open mind or um, remind me that you sometimes like when we talk, you kind of take me out of my own environment and scenario and give it like a bird's eye view of like it's bigger than that, and you
Yeah.
always encourage me to like think bigger. Jude agrees.
Yeah, I know. I do. I think you do very similar in your own way with that for me because I do really appreciate different perspectives from people, and that's why I like really value friendships that are very honest with you and give you those perspectives and always are going to kind of make sure that you have all the pieces if whenever whatever you're talking about. And you kind of have that same thing. So I really do value about that with our relationship.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
vibe really well
Mm-hmm.
in that aspect. What's something that's bringing you joy right now?
Oh, my joy right now is roller skating.
Oh yeah! Oh my gosh, yeah, no, talk about that. Talk about
Yeah.
that.
No, I started roller skating as soon as I started looking into different ways I can get back on wheels. I used to skateboard.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
We'll talk about that in a second.
but that has led me to roller skating, and I absolutely fell in love with it. It's been a great outlet for me, and just it has definitely been also a confidence booster, I would say. Watching myself improve, I started like back in February, and it's brought me a lot of joy going into this year, and it's really helped me have that self-love and time for myself to just like have that growth and just skate and jam to my music. I love it.
And she's a natural. Like, I can't believe, wait, February?
I think so. I think it
That's
was like the first of
crazy
the year.
because so I went out with her once to, and she had some rollerblades
Yeah.
because rollerblades are more rollers. I wasn't a roller skate girl. I was a rollerblade girl.
Didn't you
And
do speed skating?
no.
Oh,
What? No. In another life.
like, some people do that as a kid. I'm like, that's pretty cool.
No. I mean, I speed skated into the wall a lot, but not.
Hey, she did pretty good. We had our little set. She did great.
But kind of tying back to last episode, we talked about inner child healing.
Yeah.
We were kind of like in that time you had pointed out like muscle memory and just like how much an activity like that just kind of brings out old joy.
Yeah,
Joy
that little
that
kid in you. Yeah.
yeah.
It definitely does it for me. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember talking about it in the sense where it like watching you skate, it was also kind of like a mental meditation thing where you would just sort of like yes, Jude. You would just sort of like find peace in it. So it's like joy, peace, and you just float. Like you just like
absolutely. That's exactly how I would describe how it makes me feel.
Yeah.
It feels very elevating, and like when you get into a good flow, like the jamming and the music, and then you're kind of just feeling it, and you just do different moves and skate and kind of just dance a little with it. It does give that like freeing kind of feeling.
Yeah, I was just gonna say freedom.
Yeah.
Very freeing.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you tell us why you had to transition from skateboarding
Hmm.
to roller skating.
Yeah. So last summer, I had a similar hobby, but it was skateboarding, and it was really fun. I was at the park skating and everything, and I had broken my foot. Didn't fall, but
Mhm.
my foot just like popped, and I hurt it on the board, and ended up having to get surgeries.
Mhm.
And I got some screws and a plate in my foot,
Mhm.
and I'd never broken anything before, and it was not surprisingly, I guess, debilitating and depressing. Like I was
Yeah.
not prepared to kind of go through that and be kind of shut in within myself, trying to heal and let my body do
Mhm.
its thing. So that was a 9 month kind of process throughout last
Mhm.
year going through that. That was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting you use the word physical because I think a lot of times when we literally when we think of healing, physical is like the first thing we sort of like think of, but oftentimes even in like self-love journeys, like we forget that there's a emotional part of that
Yeah.
and having to balance both a physical healing moment with a new sort of sense of mental health healing.
Yes.
How was that sort of, had it been the first time you had kind of the opportunity to dive back into that realm?
Yeah. I think that was definitely some mental healing as my body was healing. Like they were both healing at the same time for
Yeah.
sure. And kind of just being a little cooped up and not really as active as myself that I used to be. I'm
Mhm.
normally a person who's like outside, hiking, out and
Yeah.
about, skating. So it's kind of
Mhm.
was very a setback mentally and emotionally. So it really kind of helped me learn how to give myself grace and like meet myself where I'm at, because I really
Mhm.
struggled with trying to heal fast. I really struggled with trying to like walk on my leg and find shortcuts and like
Yeah.
trying to speed up the process.
I
And
yelled at you a lot.
yeah, everybody did. Everybody was like, "Stop walking on your leg," and I'm like, "I'm fine. I'm a nurse. I know what I'm doing." And luckily, I'm one of the few people who it's fine. It didn't really affect me too bad, but
Yeah.
do what your doctor tells you
Yeah.
and let yourself heal as the time it takes for it to heal. So I really in the beginning was trying to rush that process and trying to find ways to kind of like cope with that.
Yeah.
Um, some unhealthy coping mechanisms, and then of course a lot of personal stuff going on. My dog was sick and stuff,
Yeah.
and it was just very. I was searching for ways to emotionally deal with that, and I think with my support system like you and talking to my partner and my family, it was very helpful to kind of just learn how to give myself some compassion
Mhm.
and be kind of grateful for that process, because it really has led me here today.
Yeah.
If I haven't went through that kind of dark
Mhm.
period,
Mhm.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was very, very, very self, just
Reflective.
yes, very, very self
Yeah.
reflective, and it allowed me to just kind of, I don't know, relax.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I relate to that too in terms of like trying to heal something super quick, whether
Yeah.
it's like a physical injury or a emotional wound or a trauma or whatever it is that you're going through.
Mhm.
It's easier to like skip or fast forward because it's like, ah, I recognize it. Okay, cool. It's there. I'm just gonna like keep going. And like it's almost like you're racing against yourself to
Yeah.
avoid it in a way. And I remember when I first started my self love journey, one of the things I think it was like a Coldplay song. It says like, I'm ready to feel the heal and like say yes to actually like healing. And
Mhm.
my one of those like, I guess like phrases that I always remind myself is like feel the heal. Like it's one thing to like set the time apart to heal, but in actuality, like in order to actually fully heal, you're gonna have to feel the things that
Yes.
you don't necessarily want to
You have to
feel.
just be in it.
Yes.
You really have to be in it, and I was in it. Yeah.
Yeah. And we've talked a little bit before of like how almost like having a physical injury like that forces you to just kind of slow down and stop and
Definitely. I think like it's funny because I was in track in college for so for 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
and the biggest thing that my coach told me was trust the process.
Ooh.
Like, he said it religiously. I even ended my year like, oh, I should get that tatted on me because it's such a life quote. But like,
Yeah.
I never really resonated with that phrase until like really this. Like,
Mm.
generally, like, you have to trust this process. Like, you're just gonna have to allow yourself to be here and meet yourself where you are,
Yeah.
and this is temporary, and you're just gonna go through this season, and whatever's gonna happen, you're just going to have to trust this
Mm-hmm.
process. Trust, girl.
Girl, that's that's funny because I feel like I still struggle with that.
Yeah.
And somebody said something the other day that I've still been like processing, and they were like, you only know what you know
Mm-hmm.
until like you then keep learning further and further, and like I just want to like be done with it and know now
Mm-hmm.
before like it's that like in betweenness that's the most uncomfortable part of self growth,
Yeah.
that I don't like sitting in it for very long. Um, and I'm trying to be more self aware of, oh, I'm feeling this. I don't necessarily have to figure it out right away to get out of it. Cause that's my out, is trying to figure it out and be like, oh, okay, I figured it out. Great, cool.
Yeah, it's like you get a little piece of, oh, okay, I'm kind of understanding
Yes.
what I'm feeling. Cool, we're great. Let's keep going. And you're like,
Exactly.
no, girl, you got to sit
Yeah,
down and
just
sit
sit
with
in it.
it. Sit
Which is
down.
so uncomfortable sometimes, but trusting the process, I think, because like self love is a process, it's a journey, it's
Yeah.
not like a complete thing, which I still feel like every time I'm like I hit a certain marker and then I'm like, oh, I should have known better, but I only knew what I knew.
That's very true.
And so now it's like it's part of that process.
Yeah.
And the other day we were sort of talking about our words for the year,
Mm-hmm.
um, and how we're kind of struggling with them. Surprise, surprise.
They're leading to other things.
They are leading to other things. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what kind of got you to your word gratitude this year?
I think since everything that happened last year, I was generally just trying to see what I can appreciate
Yeah.
and embody for this next year. Because the whole point of us in this self journey is to evolve as individuals. And like you said, keep learning those new things and learn more to adapt better. And I think for some reason, gratitude really rung a bell to me because I want to be thankful for the darkness and the
Yeah.
light, and I want to
You need
be.
both.
You do, and like it's hard sometimes to like not appreciate the negative because the negative's there and you have to combat it every day, but you can also learn to appreciate that it makes you who you are.
Yeah.
And like, I think the mindset change that has helped me with understanding what that word means for me is like this whole thing that I went through is understanding that it didn't happen to me, it happened for me,
Yes.
and kind of like being grateful for that whole thing. And it's just, I don't regret anything. I mean, I don't know if I'd be roller skating, if I wasn't,
That's true.
if I never was broken with my foot.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times in healing process, I feel like I do obviously like always question like, why is this happening to me?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not until like after I get over that hill that I'm like, oh, this is happening for me. Like, look at all this growth that I did this past year emotionally.
Oh my God, yeah.
And everything that I have learned about myself, and I actually love myself so much more because I went through this thing.
Yes.
And it's stepping outside of that. So what about gratitude has been kind of difficult for you to accept or tackle?
I think the biggest thing that has been the struggle is to like the daily
Yeah.
allowing myself to just like stop being so hard even when you have the lows and the highs, because that self compassion and giving myself grace has been a good phrase for me.
Yeah.
I think it's been difficult for myself to not have these goals and have this word for the year and not hold myself up to this standard that I'm like making sure I'm kind of embodying it as I go through each month, because it's already about to be June. We're about to be 6 months into this year.
6 months into the year.
Yes. So I'm like, trying to at the same time, have a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of perfectionism in that, and with that I have to be like, okay, give yourself a little grace. Look at where you
Yeah.
were just a little while ago. Kind of a little self reflect. That kind of really keeps me back on track because I
Mm-hmm.
am extremely hard on myself, like us all. So,
Right.
yeah.
Gratitude daily has always been difficult for me. I've tried it, and I think I get to the point where it becomes mundane and
Mm-hmm.
I start to feel like I should be grateful for more things and I
Mm-hmm.
can't think of any more things when the whole point is to like be present, which is
Yeah.
another commonality that we found between our words of receive and gratitude,
Yeah, that's true. We're talking about that.
where where I realized that a lot of what like receiving was like a present tense. It wasn't like a past or like a future thing. It was
Yeah.
like now, and I had to kind of sit in it.
Yeah. Like, what does
Which
the
is also
present
gratitude.
mean?
Yeah. Gratitude, you also just have to like
Yeah.
sit in the now.
Yeah.
And I was going to mention to you, I think this happened after we were having that conversation. Something came up on like TikTok talking about how like relaxing or like being like in the moment has a lot to do with trust,
Mm-hmm.
because you have to like let go, and we've been talking about how hard it is to let go of things.
Yes.
And I think I'm trying to let go of, like you said, that perfectionism of like mastering receiving, where
Mm-hmm.
really, if I wanted to go backwards, like I often do as a self reflection tool, breaking down that word is actually meaning just being present and trusting that things are okay.
Yeah, and we were talking about how like it does start with trust because you have to literally like, this is where I am today. This is my
Mm-hmm.
present me version of me. And so
Yeah.
it's like, what can I do with this and how can I appreciate this version and what I'm doing right now? And the present itself is a gift,
Yeah,
what they
obviously.
say.
LOL.
So it's like literally like that can be the most thing you thankful every day.
Yeah.
As simple as that sounds, but it really is. Sometimes I think we like to overthink how we're supposed to like perceive things,
Yeah.
and it can be very simple.
It is. And sometimes I kind of get carried away with trying to heal past versions of myself. And I've been accessing future versions of myself that I just forget to just be with who I am now
Mm-hmm.
without trying to fix her.
Yeah, like let her be.
Let her be.
Let her do her thing. Let her make little mistakes, grow.
Yeah, mistakes are actually, I like mistakes. I can't believe I'm saying that. 3 years ago probably would have been like, who the hell is that talking in that body? But I think the more that I allow myself to like grow, I reflect back and know that something else I've been thinking about too is like, if I make a decision for myself today, I am allowed to change my mind tomorrow if it doesn't feel right for me. That doesn't mean like be flaky and like
Yeah,
just like,
but the
live
chances,
like without goals or like anything like that.
yeah,
But I'm saying like for your own, like if I don't feel right about something, I can change my mind about it and I'm not wrong.
no, because it's your life, and it's like
Exactly.
you can evolve. You're clearly the different, the not the same person you were yesterday, and like
Right.
the idea of evolving, it's like you can literally decide that what you liked yesterday is not what you like tomorrow or what you want to be, and so you do get the choice to feel comfortable in what you decide to do with your life every day.
Yeah, and you can change that direction of your life at any time. Where I know a year ago too, you were like almost about to move,
Mm-hmm.
and how much that year,
A lot has
a lot
changed.
has changed since.
Yeah, girl. I mean, life is really like, as I'm getting older, I'm really understanding how it really does take you for a ride, and I'm getting more and more comfortable with the adventure of that,
Yeah.
and really like being comfortable with the idea of things being elsewhere and not just always where you are for the time being. So it's really fun, kind of like playing with. I could be here, I could be there. I don't know, we'll see, but we're gonna try to the best to where we are now and have a good experience.
Yeah, and have the time to like, even if I want to like skip ahead to the next chapter,
Mm-hmm.
life sometimes has a way of bringing you back and saying, not yet.
Yeah,
Let's just stay here for a little bit
yeah,
and heal. How about
And that's
that?
what life told me last year. Sure did. It said,
But life
sit
told me
here
that
and heal.
too.
Girl.
In different ways, right? Like, because
Yeah.
our journeys are different, but when we come together to like talk about where we're at or check in with each other, it's always like we're living very different lives, but at the same time, that human connection is priceless
Yeah.
to helping navigate each of our life chapters.
Yes. Which I think is very essential in the self growth is like having the people in your life that are there to
Yeah.
support you like that. Like I know community and similar and familiarity.
Familiarity. That's a hard one
There
too.
we go. It's comfortable, but also like differences of life and perspective is
Mm,
always key. To have your growth be eminent and like have people be able to
yes.
provide that support, but it doesn't mean it has to be the um, same path that you're on. You know, like
Exactly.
everyone has good things to say to you when you guys have that good connection like that.
Yeah, and it is I remember I think a lot of the time when I remember being in a place in my life last year
Mm-hmm.
and then growing closer together and realizing I was stepping into a new chapter of my life because there was new characters in my life
Mm-hmm.
that were being so supportive. And I remember being at the dog park one day and I was like apologizing for like sharing so much of what I had been going through and processing. And you and Rachel, who was there at the time too, were
Yeah.
like, you both were like,
We're
no,
like,
stop
what?
apologizing. And I was like, whoa, whoa. It
Yeah.
was like the first time that I felt like I could like just continue to like I think having patience with people that are
Yeah.
supportive and knowing that sometimes it's going to take a little bit longer for you to process something completely,
Yeah.
and your supportive friends, like your true supportive friends, are going to be okay with hearing that as
They're gonna
long as
allow you to
it
be vulnerable. Yeah.
as long as it takes for you to
Definitely.
get it.
Yeah. I think that's just like the beautifulness of being human and like having real, like genuine human people in your life
Yes.
because they want to like hear your vulnerableness. They want to hear where you're coming from and like support you and like root for you.
Yeah.
And like, I just do cherish that and like this relationship we have because it's we're rooting for each
No,
other
we are.
no matter
Go
where life
team.
takes us. Always.
Well, what's something or a tool that sort of like helped you learn how to love yourself more?
Recently actually, since kind of like I said, getting back on my feet, literally.
Literally.
It's been really trying to show up for myself for the things I do enjoy, because I know how I feel afterwards.
Yeah.
Like moving my body and working out and like doing yoga and being outside and touching grass, things that I really enjoy and I know make me feel good and uplift me.
Mm-hmm.
I really try to make that time and make the space, even if I'm a little tired. If it's 20 minutes, 10 minutes, I try to kind of advocate for the things that I enjoy that I know will make me happy.
Yeah.
Another thing I do really like to do is like mood playlists on.
Oh, I love doing that
Yeah,
too.
I
I didn't know
love
this
doing mood
about you,
playlists.
but I
Yeah,
do too. Yeah.
like depending on how I'm feeling during the day or the week or even like I'll plan for like I have one for June. My birthday's next month, so I'm like I got a
Ayy.
birthday playlist. We'll see if I'm
Yes.
still feeling it. But it kind of yeah, girl, the moods change.
Yes, it's true. It's true.
But it kind of feels like a music diary to me because I
Oh, I
can
love
yeah
that.
you can go back and like listen to the old playlists you have and like kind of you real kind of feel how that song feels to you
Mm,
and how you felt back then when you first heard it. So, and then the flow of each songs together like they all
yeah.
kind of matter, so I really do enjoy doing those.
I do that too now that you say, but I never thought of it as like a music diary.
Mm-hmm.
But it's true. Like my Spotify folders are so, or my playlists are so disorganized.
Yeah.
I think I finally put them in folders, but like I, I, I remember recently going back to one that I had made, and some of those songs didn't quite resonate with me
Yeah.
anymore, and so I removed them, and it was kind of emotional, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's kind of sad." Like this used to mean so much to me, but I'm moving forward here. And
that's what I love about actually that, because like I've done the same thing. I've like had some playlists I go back and I'm like, this song just doesn't fit, but the other songs do, and like you maybe add some songs and like playlists like they're like 2 years old sometimes that I just generally like
slap.
They still slap. They still have the jams. So yeah, I really do enjoy doing that. Music is a great way for me to be in tune with my self love. So
I love that. I love music too. It's super important for me to continue. Oh, there's that gnat. She was just asking me, do you have gnats? And I was like, no.
Gnat enters the chat.
Universe was like, sit down and be humble. I do have gnats. Anyways, and flies. But don't tell Jude because he's scared of those. Oh, what would you tell someone who wants to live a life they love?
Who wants to live a life they love? I would say kind of really get an idea or a list of the things that are important to you, that bring you joy and make you happy, big or small, and really just try to make the time for yourself to do those things, or to have them in your life, because that you love yourself. You would love, that's really showing self-love, because you love yourself enough to make the time and prioritize that.
Yeah.
So I really think that if you can make the time to have the things in your life that you love, your life will significantly be a little bit more lovely, I think.
We were just talking about this in the car over here. I've been trying to do that more. It's like actually like honor the time that I set for myself, and like starting my days with filling my cup first, because I tend to kind of fill other cups first, including Jude's. Like even something as small as like I've been starting to make a coffee and taking the coffee out with me on his walk. Just a small change like that, because before I'd roll out of bed, take him out. Like I would be automatic, like autopilot servicing animals, people, whatever, outside of myself. He's worth it though. But even like a small change like that, or like I've been trying to write more in the mornings, but I've been actually putting calendar invites for myself.
Yeah. You get that notification like, there for you.
It's my turn. It's my time. Yes. It's me time.
Yeah, I think that is a really good one, because like if you do make that time, like you really are showing up for yourself, and that's a good self-love, active self-love.
Yeah, because I think sometimes I started asking myself, well, how am I abandoning myself right now? How am I not showing up for me? And I did not like my answer, because I wasn't. Because I found some holes that I needed to like check in and fill. So I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, how do you want to be remembered?
Okay.
Jude looked at you. He's like, oh, I'm ready for this.
Are you gonna remember me, Jude?
Of course. Aww.
You're so cute. I think I would like to be remembered as a compassionate person, a person who has always made it important to connect to their environment, others, a person who really loves to connect with nature and those around them, and ultimately just as like I said, I was getting older, and I'm really enjoying life's ride. So really a person that has been able to take life's journeys and just kind of ride them out, and kind of over time get better at getting those hills, and
better at the
hills, better at the roller coaster
with the skates and everything.
Literally. So I mean that would be pretty cool. If I can be remembered for some compassion, some community, some hill riding.
I love that.
I think that'd be pretty cool.
I will say you are probably one of the most compassionate people I've ever met.
Oh, thank you.
So check mark. Well, I would love to pull a card for you if you're down.
Absolutely.
And you have chosen the very popular, it's actually one of my favorites still too, animal decks. I'll put the link in the description.
Such a pretty little box.
And I'm going to shuffle with...
Oh, she multitasking.
Oh shit. That came out real quick. Okay. These cards say we don't play. That came out. You got the horse.
Tell me what it means.
Jude, no, I'm reading this card.
Wait your turn. Wait your turn,
so,
man.
the horse, yeah, Jude, would you? There we go. There we go. So I always associate the horse with like literally what you were talking about, like this like adventurous spirit that
Mm,
is ready to kind of like go forth in life and like open themselves up to new adventures, new opportunities, very open mindedness. There's a moon on like its third eye, so like you're kind of open to like receiving new information, receiving new perspectives, but like the hair on the it's like braided for protection, but also like it's kind of flowy and like it's kind of it wants to feel life how it comes at it, but also wants to like be ahead of the chariot of the adventure. So like
okay.
you're kind of like in charge of your own life while at the same time being that wild horse spirit of embracing the adventure that comes with it.
I love that. That really resonates with me.
What?
It's what I've been feeling lately. Very adventurous. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, well, like I've said last time when I opened this for my sister, I really like the descriptions of this book. And I remember something. Yeah, moment what it literally
And
says freedom.
freedom.
I was like, something told me to open up this book because it would be really cool if I did that. Yeah, momentum, freedom, expansive energy, and force.
Ah, I love that. See, the growth is here.
The growth is here. Achieves anything, never gives up. Wow, this is really funny to bring to balance strength training.
I did just start lifting too.
That's so funny. Your foot's like,
Yeah.
yay!
Heck yeah.
But when you do feel out of balance, you'll feel weak
Mhm.
and you run away. So don't run away from yourself, Amara.
I will do my best.
And if you feel like you do, then do something that like or if you feel like you're about to run away from a situation or yourself, find something that's grounding, that centers you to give yourself that grace and compassion
Yes.
to check in with yourself before you feel like you need to hide away.
You kind of run away from whatever it's kind of
Yeah.
coming at me. Yeah.
Feel the heal,
Feel the
remember?
heal. Trust the process. All
And go
that.
at it, Jude. Just
Go
just
crazy.
go crazy. So, yeah.
That's cute. That's beautiful, though. I really like that.
What did you feel when I
I just felt like it kind of
read
feels
that?
on par about kind of where I'm going right now.
Yeah.
I feel like there's been a lot of interpersonal growth for me lately, and
Mhm.
that kind of is a good reminder for myself as I do have that momentum and freedom and
Yeah.
skating away.
Yeah, freedom.
I think
Yeah.
that's a good kind of pointer to kind of just make sure you have some grounding and good coping mechanisms and things that are in place to kind of bring you back to earth, and
Mhm.
kind of it's okay to feel those things, but
Yeah.
remember to kind of full circle it and come back to what keeps me moving.
Well, it's funny you say that earth because it this deck is divided into like the four elements and the horse is like
Oh, stop it right now.
is earth. It's the highest level of the earth card
Okay, well,
suit here.
sounds like a perfect match to me.
So yeah,
I like
grounding
it.
in that you're a very earth nature loving person. So that makes sense
I
too.
consider myself an earthy girl.
You are nature girl, earthy girl.
Earthy girl.
What about you, Jude? Are you an earthy girl?
She said, I'm just here for the cuddles.
Yeah. I'm so proud of him. He did such a good
You
job
did
the whole
great.
time. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your love and energy with us.
Of course. I'm honored to be on this podcast. Like, I'm
Yes.
absolutely love that she did this. Was her biggest one of her biggest advocates, because I was like,
She was.
she has such great things to say about self-love, and I know the journey that you've been through has been like beautiful, and
Yeah.
you've learned so much about yourself, and I love that you want to help others. So like, I'm very, very proud of you.
I receive it, Amara.
As you should.
Uh because you're right and I accept that.
Yeah.
And I will say also in return like in this past year since everything happened, since you called me the night You're like, hey, are you home? Can you come walk art?
Like, I need
like,
help.
what happened? But
Come
ever
save
since
me.
then, you have not only like just so like the horse, like so driven with so much momentum, like stepped into this like independence, so determined to be independent, but
Yeah.
at the same time had, which is something I admire, like had the compassion of yourself to ask for help, which is so hard for me to do
Yeah.
sometimes. And like seeing you balance that independence with like being okay with being helped with friends, with your partner, with family,
Yeah.
and open, that kind of helps me like realize asking for help is a form of like receiving.
Oh, it definitely is.
And that journey that you went on last year and just getting to see how much you've grown, and it's been really beautiful to watch you bloom.
Thank you. I'm all healed up in the mind and the foot.
And the heart too.
And the heart. And the heart, yeah.
Okay, bye, Jude.
That's it.
That's it.
Jude, close us out.
Close this out. Say something.
That's the best he's got. I was waiting for a roar, man.
I hope that conversation was inspiring. I don't know, made you feel like wherever you are in your journey right now, just being in the thick of it and sitting in that sort of unknown space of the in between is really part of it. And you're not behind and you're not missing anything. I think it's a very important part of the journey and trusting the process. And I was going through my catalog of lovely letters to see which one would kind of fit this episode, and I found two, gravitated more towards one, and I think I'm going to read it. I haven't read it, and I think I'm going to react live to it and see if a past version of me has a little message for me. I wrote this in 2019 in the summer, and we're kind of inching into summer. So let's see what 2019 summer Monica has to tell me. The letter is: Dear Lovely, it's time to let go. Dear Lovely, it's time to let go. That thing you've been holding on to, that person you keep thinking of that doesn't give you the time of day, that dream you keep trying to make happen on your own terms, these are the things you need to let go of. The things we hold on to are not always meant to happen right away. Maybe we give too much focus to one thing and it sets us off balance. We get disappointed when our hard work goes unnoticed or when we don't get what we ask for right away. Maybe it's a material thing you can't get rid of because you're still holding on to the memory it brings you. We yearn for it and rely on it to give us the feeling we can find somewhere else, only if we try. Maybe it's the raise you want or the job you keep applying for that just turns the other cheek. You feel forgotten. You are not alone. Sometimes the best thing we can do is let go and see what comes back to us. The people we love aren't always good for us. You have come to terms with this. Just like not everyone is your cup of tea, you are not everyone's cup of tea either. This is okay, lovely. You are not meant to please everyone. Don't put that pressure on yourself. I know you've been trying. I know you're pulling your weight. It's getting heavier and heavier, knowing they're not pulling theirs. So let go. Not so that they know how it feels, but so that you are not pulling more than you are receiving. Shut up. That's not part of the letter. That's just me live reacting. Okay, I'll get back into character, or not character, but performance mode. Okay, stop trying to get back and fix things. Ouch, she's really coming for me, you guys. You have done your time. Stop trying to mend the relationship. When it's meant to be in your life again, it will. Trust that they were there in your life to help you along in your journey. Give thanks and let go, at least for now. Give yourself a little bit of that love you keep giving away to others so freely. God damn. Okay, I should have read this before. Okay, last paragraph, last paragraph. Things don't always happen how we want them to. Sometimes we try too hard and keep trying until things don't work, myself included. The irony. It's time to try something different. It's time to let go and let the universe complete the circle. Throw that boomerang. When it comes back to you, it will be in the way you deserve, not in the way you expect. The hard work will pay off. Your dream will eventually come true. If you put in the time and the effort, believe that it will. But stop trying to put so much time and effort into it. It's stressing you out. It's not bringing you joy anymore. It's okay to pause and see what happens. I'm not saying to give up. I'm telling you not to be so stubborn, so hard on yourself when things don't go your way. Try something else. Go about it in a different way. Keep fighting for that lovely life worth living. Just let go of what isn't lovely anymore. Love, Monica. And that's the episode. I hope you're inspired to love yourself a little more than you did yesterday, and you're on your way to finding a lovely life you love. If you want to read more about my self love journey, head over to findalovelylife.com. Subscribe, rate, and share this podcast if you feel called to. Remember that your self love journey can start or restart at any point. There are no rules. Stay connected with us on social at Find a Lovely Life, or if you want to see more of Monica Life, you can find me at Lovely Monica, and that's spelled LOVELEEMONICAA. I'll say goodbye for now. Thanks for listening. Until next time.